Hello, I'm David D. Cosmo. Welcome to ECTV Live. I'm joined with my co-host Rusty Fender.
Good to see you, David.
Good to see you as well.
The weekend is coming up.
One of our very favorite
Absolutely.
shows. You know,
It's true.
we like to promote public events in our area, and consequently, a lot of those events are annual. This has got to be the biggest. This is La Festa Italiana.
On the farewell to summer yet, Labor Day weekend.
Oh, well, that's right. Chris DiMatteo is the chief cook and bottle washer of the of La Festa.
David.
And we just decided before we went on the air for some 40 years or something like that.
42 years
42.
this is the event. 42
And you're
years.
here 30
I'm about
plus.
about 30.
30
This might be my
plus.
30th year, yeah. But I'm only 29, so I don't,
I hate people who can't hold a job.
But I know that this is a labor of love in your
It
case.
is,
know.
it is.
Does it get
Family
easier as
of
it goes on, Chris? No way,
actually,
huh?
it doesn't. No, really, it doesn't.
way.
Dealing with a lot of, always dealing with issues, you know, but it's fun. It really is fun. But it's sad because it is the end of, it's the
And
end of the year.
it gets more complicated the more elaborate these things get too year after year.
Absolutely. We only have so much space, and we have to deal, especially this year, we have to deal with construction issues that are going on around Courthouse Square, because Courthouse Square is absolutely beautiful.
Oh yeah,
you bet
Kevin
it is.
Shaughnessy from the Lackawanna County does the buildings and grounds. Does an outstanding job. If you haven't been on the courthouse, it really is beautiful. But there's always construction that happens around it, like the federal courthouse. Had some construction. The cathedral had some construction. So those are things we have to work around.
Just the
So we're
streets in
making some
general.
major
All new
plans.
transformers by PP&L along Lackawanna Avenue. That's a big project too, and that will impact
and
the
needed.
area.
Very well.
Absolutely.
Much needed. And then of course we have this year Gene Reed, who does a great job with promoting fights in the area. But he said, we're going to do a fight this Labor Day weekend, and the Hilton sponsors it. So when is it? The Saturday of La Festa. Oh, okay. So we're working around that. So a lot of people, Rail Fest down at Steamtown. Always
it
that
all
Saturday,
happens
Sunday.
Labor Day
one
weekend. By the way, Gene Reed, who Chris just mentioned, is the guy that puts up those banners when you're coming into town that said, La Festa this weekend and such. And he's a great, really into prize fighting and knows his stuff. Great, really a
Good
quality
boxer in his
guy.
day. Good boxer in his
Yes,
day.
indeed. Yes, indeed. I know that we do this every year, but we can't assume that people remember. How did La Festa get started? This is basically an Italian-based event, and so logically people would think, well, hey, you got to have it around Columbus Day, not Labor Day.
It was around Columbus Day, David. It was 1976. Bobby Pettinato was the county commissioner at the time. There was a whole promotion going on throughout the country, the bicentennial, to promote your ethnicity in your community that you lived. So there was a lot of different events, but of course the Italians got involved and said, okay, we're going to do an event on Columbus Day. Which was it was one day. And back then the courthouse certainly was a lot different than what it is now. The street actually just kind of went into the courthouse. There wasn't really any sidewalks, so the vendors set up right on the street sidewalk, if you will. And it was mostly the Italian churches, so it might have been, and organizations, which there were
from the
quite
churches,
a bit, from the churches locally. I remember Monsignor Crotty, Monsignor Mera, God rest their souls. They were involved back then. And I guess it was just going to be, a one-year event. Then it went, the second year lasted a couple of days on Columbus Day weekend. But then in 1980. And I remember Bob Pettinato was like the only person on the committee who did not want to change the event, wanted to have a Columbus Day weekend. They said, well, we'd like to change the date. It snowed that weekend. So they moved it the following year, which would have been 1981, to Labor Day weekend. It was always Saturday, Sunday, Monday. Now we've added Friday night because it just makes so much sense with usually first Friday in downtown Scranton. There's so many things going on. Our vendors are all set up. Our committee members are ready. So it's now Friday, Saturday, and we close Friday, Saturday, Sunday. We close a little earlier on Monday night.
You look at just from the safety issue now. Everything has grown from safety. On that first Columbus Day weekend, which I remember, they didn't even close the streets. You had to just navigate through the streets.
And
And
I
then
think just Washington Avenue, and there was a fire
Right.
at the Hilton.
That's
if you remember
correct.
the old Hilton,
which is where the new federal building is.
federal building.
That is
right,
correct.
That's right, Dusty.
That's right.
Just what you needed.
But you know, it's gone from the vendors on the street to the vendors on the sidewalk to the closing of the streets cordoned off. Boy, it's come a long way too.
We have a wonderful relationship with the city of Scranton and Lackawanna County, of course, but Chief Graziano and his whole team really trying to work out all the details as far as safety. And we have a number of volunteers led by Frank Castellano and Jamie Keene and Dave Bird who really put this thing together, because we have a memorial race in memory of Jimmy Minicozy on Saturday morning at 10 a.m. There's a lot of coordination with that, and literally just to make sure that vehicles could get by if there was an emergency, or the senior citizens or people that are handicapped. We want to make sure that there's all types of arrangements so people could get it.
Sure.
We're dealing with a new parking
Right,
organization,
authority,
ABM. So there's 3 lots right on the square, but we want to make sure that if you're handicapped in a wheelchair, you could drop your loved one off and be able to
Still
swing
have
into
access
it.
to everything.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's $5, and so people will go down to the mall. Boscov's always has a great sale going on Labor Day weekend. They'll park there. They'll come over. Again, Steamtown, people that want to go back and forth to the Steamtown National
Fest,
Historic Tyke
yeah.
and Real Fest.
Yeah.
We'll have a trolley ride sponsored by Colts. So it really is a partnership between so many people. Then on top of that, there might be a baseball game up at Montage. So there's quite a bit going on Labor Day weekend.
Yeah, and you have to understand that the festival features music. And if you want to come and enjoy that, there's absolutely no charge involved. Now, there are plenty of vendors, as Chris has mentioned, and I want to get into that too, as a matter of fact. But you wanted to bring your own ham sandwich down and watch a band. There's no problem doing that.
And people do.
I know that some do have
really,
have a picnic there and stuff. With regard to the vendors, a number of those vendors are public service organizations. And for them, this becomes a major fundraiser.
Unico, this is their fundraiser. The Scranton chapter of Unico, this really is their fundraiser for providing, they have the famous porchetta sandwich that they provide, and they do it very well. It pays for so many scholarships. It helps out St. Joseph's Center and St. Francis of Assisi Kitchen and local veterans, homeless veterans. So many different things, but that's really their weekend. As this program is airing, there's probably 6 volunteers, probably all in their 80s. One of them's my dad. making the porchetta, and they worked so well with the Pasqualicchio brothers, and that is certainly one thing. And we've tried over the years. It used to be just Italian food, but there's so many other different foods. So we'll have, there'll be kielbasi, there'll be pierogies, there'll be different types of Greek food, and
There better be my London broil stand,
and the
which
London
is
broil,
always there.
Mickey's
That's
London broils.
correct. Right on,
never move it.
right
for
on
you,
London.
Rusty. Never
That's
move
correct.
it. But so much. It really is. These and they're all individuals that have family businesses. You're not going to see a named organization down there. It's not like when I go to different events in larger cities where it's food trucks or it's a national chain. No, this is all family businesses, or like you said, nonprofit organizations trying to earn something for that weekend. Wonderful health inspectors from the city of Scranton, and actually the other inspectors that inspect the arts and crafts that are down from the city of Scranton. Each one has a permit. Each one is inspected on a daily basis. The fire department come down and make sure that all the propane tanks are properly taped down and so forth.
Boy, so
There's
many
a
little
lot
things
that goes
behind
on
the
behind
scenes.
to make
Wow.
sure it's
When you have that
healthy.
many people, there's no such thing as being too careful.
Right. And so that will happen all next week, and we always ask for patience, so most people know that the streets will be somewhat closed while we're setting up, and then we try to get everything down the Tuesday right after the event. So knock on wood, or whatever this is. We've been blessed with good weather, and even if there is a little shower or two, people come from miles and miles. I mean, this is a
That's
big
for sure.
event for people from Virginia and the Pittsburgh and the Philadelphia area and Connecticut and New York and New Jersey.
And then
they
you
don't
do-
have festivals like
then you-
like this there.
They don't.
And you do have them migrating over from the Rail Fest.
Absolutely.
Who are coming from all over the country to see the
All over the
collection at
country.
Steamtown.
But like you said, David, it is free. You do not need a penny to come to La Festa. We have over 50 acts, and great acts. I mean, some of these are larger organizations, groups that have been playing both locally and national, international acts that come to La Festa. Small groups, you know, some of the younger bands and so forth. Marionette theater, jugglers, you name it, strollers. There's all types of entertainment, something for all ages. And all desires
And
of
you have
entertainment.
you have a couple of stages set
We do.
up.
We have 3 stages. However, due to the federal courthouse construction, we need to move the main stage in front of the courthouse. So
Just
the
going to
people
ask
will
about
actually
that.
be
That's the one
in
catty
grass.
corner at Linden at North Washington.
Right,
That
the
one's
main
moving.
stage. That stage will move. Actually, there is more room for the pedestrians, people that want to see the acts in the. So it'll be right next to the Civil War
Yes,
monument,
okay.
right on Washington. Have the large grass area. We'll put
Which is still there, by the way.
Right, it's still there.
Thank
Thank
heavens.
We'll put a yeah, right. That's true. But we'll put a dance floor there, bleachers, chairs. There'll be some tables. So that'll be our large area for for the entertainment. We had to do that this year. There was literally
Right.
no other place.
Will
to
there
put
still
it.
be 3 stages then?
And there'll be 3 stages. So there'll be one on Linden Street, which is sponsored by Fidelity Bank, and there's some kiddie rides and kiddie games and entertainment over there. And then our friends at Wayne Bank are over on Spruce and Adams. That's some of the smaller acts will be performing over there. Little picnic area. So entertainment on 3 different stages.
That is really a lot of entertainment. And let's talk about the whole schedule starting from the beginning of the festival right on through.
Well, the beginning of the festival this year, it's Friday night, of course. There's been a group that's been in the Scranton area, and may have played a wedding or 2 that you've been at, and that's the Exact Change,
Oh, yeah.
run by the famous Paul LaBelle. They're actually celebrating 50 years.
No doubt. They
of
started at
performing.
the Woodlands when it was the
Oh, you
Treadway.
remember?
When it was the Treadway in
So-
68.
So
exactly.
Paul's been around an awful long time. They're still a terrific band. They're going to open up the event on Friday at
What-
5 o'clock.
5 o'clock, okay.
And at 7, a lot of people came down, including yourself, for the cameos.
Absolutely.
They bill
Big
themselves
New
as
Jersey.
New Jersey's favorite oldies group. Last year
act.
we had the Duprees,
Yeah.
and then they sing the Duprees almost
Yeah.
as good. So that's also on Friday. On Saturday, of course, we start with the race, Jimmy Minicozy Memorial Race. Danny Argo, you can't get a lot of old, authentic,
He is
traditional
Pistons own.
Pistons
You
own Danny
bet.
Argo. And
Danny
it comes
Argo.
with all the characters
Solid
that he's
rock.
with.
Absolutely.
And friends, he starts off on Saturday. Gerard Mayer, who's been around for a long time, is a great show band. Turi Dance Studio, old friends. How can we? That's Jackie Bordeaux. Jimmy Cullen, Jimmy Waltich, and Jack will be actually strolling the square doing some
From the old
songs.
Gibbs and Cullen
Oh,
days.
yeah.
Yeah.
See,
Yeah,
I
you
love this
kidding
guy.
Gibbs and Cullen.
We have a great Italian group. Whether you're young or old, they just bring Italian rock to Scranton, and that's the Euro Rhythms by Ray Massa. Ray Massa is the leader. They come out of the Columbus, Ohio area. They'll be in for Saturday night. University of Scranton's jazz band with Cheryl Boga. Sunday has the Italian Continentals, Mike Lanza and the group.
You begin with the mass that day.
Well, I was going to get to that. Get
Okay.
to that in a second. I'll go ahead of me or behind me. Al Grout, famous magician and a juggler. Las Vegas with the New York Italian show band. All this will be advertised in the papers, and it's lafestaitaliana.org. We'll make sure that's on the screen there, so all the entertainment
Uncle
is there.
Floyd.
Uncle
Uncle
Floyd, your
Floyd
favorite. He loves
Vivino.
this festival. Loves this festival.
Dave, remember Uncle Floyd? He
WOR,
had the number
yeah.
one WHT,
WHT.
then WOR,
Okay.
Channel 9 Secaucus. That's
Okay.
right. He had, then when there was just WHT was licensed to Newark back in the 80s, he had one of these comedy, like a Soupy Sales show.
Yes, right.
Yeah.
And then they picked it up on cable, which was then, well, in that area would have been like Warner Amex cable in that area, which is, Comcast here. But it was the Uncle Floyd show.
yeah.
The zaniest, he's still around,
He's
from
still around.
WHT
And
to Scranton, Pennsylvania.
He's still a teenager at
That's
heart, and he just
unbelievable.
he's young and old, just
Uncle
laugh.
Floyd
Very
show.
clean comedy show. It's just terrific. Now, Ballet Theater of Scranton, of course, do a wonderful job with the tarantella and some Italian ethnic dances, and then of course yours truly is going to do his show. However, I have a very special guest. Not only my buddy Kenny McGraw and the Brass and Ivory Band, but were you guys aware that this year, in this past June, would have been Dean Martin's 100th birthday?
Yes.
Oh,
So
Yes. And he
we're
even-
bringing old Dino back.
One of my favorite, and he died on Christmas
On
Eve,
Christmas
as
Eve.
you remember.
Yeah.
Yes, indeed. Martin.
So we have a very special friend of ours who's been here in the past. His name is Andy Domino from Las Vegas. He and I are going to roast each other, but actually celebrate Dean Martin's
Oh, that's
birthday in
fantastic.
style on Sunday night. Of course, then of course
And with the
poets,
and with the
fireworks.
tie-in
Yeah.
too with Jerry Lewis just dying.
How about
on the-
that?
How about
Yeah,
that? Huh?
yeah.
At 91, so it's the whole
Yeah,
tie-in
yeah.
with the
91,
Lewis and
92.
Martin days.
Yeah, what a great
Perfect.
performer
Yep.
himself.
They played Scranton.
Oh, they
Yeah.
sure did.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
Now-
yes, they
Now-
did.
Now, here's something. He wouldn't want me to say this, but of course, Gene Dempsey, he's a young 29, 92, and him and Louise are actually celebrating their 65th wedding
Wow.
anniversary
Wow,
this year.
fantastic.
But so it's actually right around the Festa. So we'll have a little party for that as well too. Gene performs always on Monday at noon, so you come down for that. Again, our friends from New York, the crazy four guys from the Johnstown, Elmira area, Las Vegas, great Italian
Yep.
show band. Flaxie Morgan, they did a great job last year, great band. And Connie Francis, our own Nikki Rasmus, West Scranton's Nikki Rasmus, does a wonderful show, but you close your eyes and you'd swear she's Connie
Wow.
Francis. But the Infernos, which is like a phenomenal show band, they happen to be from New Jersey, but they play all over the country, really. They're going to come in on Monday night, be a key group. But on top of that, you'll get Bill and Donna Arnold, The Fortunes, Tony Vergnetti, DJ Donna Diva, Damien the Magician, Nothing Yet, Jigsaw Johnny, Rogue Chimp, Two for the Road, Take Three, Sarah Marie and Joseph, Blush, Fuzzy Park Duo, The Frost, The Paramounts, Classic Rock Express, Von Storch Trio, The Wannabes, East Coast, and add top of that, we're going to juggle with Rob Smith.
Is this all you do for a
This
free
is it.
show? This is it? You got to be kidding
Can
me.
you imagine what you'd pay for any of these?
I don't think it'd be possible to pay for all these. You're right.
Yeah. We're so grateful the county supports. We have so many sponsors, and it really is a labor of love. But I think you need to have the entertainment. You need to bring a lot of groups because, look, if there's people here that they look forward to this all year long. And,
Yes.
We have so many senior citizen high rises. We have the University of Scranton students, the Lackawanna College students, Marywood. They're all coming back to town.
right. Yeah.
Their parents. So many people just really enjoy this event. In fact, usually we have to be careful because back in the day there weren't a lot of people living in downtown Scranton.
right.
Now every block there's
These all refurbished condos.
all these,
like,
there's a
yeah,
lot of
you're right.
condos. So,
Right.
and no alcohol. We don't have alcohol at the Festa, but the local bars. Bar Pazzo's one of our new vendors. Ravello's is a new vendor this year because they're celebrating 50 years of business, but they're coming in this year. So we have a lot of new vendors and old vendors and just a lot of fun.
I don't think this would have had the legs that it has now if it were maintained on Columbus Day weekend, because
I
the
agree.
weather is
I
so
agree. I
iffy
agree.
at that point. You can get a snowstorm on Halloween the week after, or it can be
Right.
81 degrees.
And that's why we have Mass. So we have Masses at 10 a.m. at St. Peter's Cathedral on Sunday. Absolutely beautiful Mass. It's said in Italian. Now, Father Dave Capelloni from St. Rocco St. Anthony's in Dunmore is our chaplain. However, this year there's a little conflict in the schedule, and Bishop Robert Morlino from Dunmore, native of Dunmore, who is now the Bishop of Madison, Wisconsin, is coming in to say the Mass in Italian. His master of ceremonies will be Father Paul Fontanella from Carbondale, also originally from Dunmore, but he's a pastor in Carbondale, and St. Anthony, St. Rocco's choir, Joe Moffett, and so many musicians involved in that Mass. So
What time is that, by the way?
that's at 10 a.m. at St. Peter's Cathedral on Sunday, so obviously it's your Sunday
Right.
obligation.
Now, the race is Saturday?
Race is Saturday
And
at 10.
what's the setup for that?
You know, you just come down, you want to walk, you want to run. It's a donation. It benefits the Boys and Girls Club of Scranton. Each year they spend $10,000 or $15,000 on a wonderful Christmas party for the people that go to the Boys and Girls Club. Boys and girls that go to the Boys and Girls Club in Scranton, all run by the Minicozy family and the Unico Scranton chapter foundation.
He was a great guy. A terrible,
very
terrible
active.
loss.
Terrible loss. Very active. He was Joe Guido was my right-hand man, and Jimmy was always my left hand.
Yeah.
So
is that run through the city?
it's run through the city, very similar to all the other races.
5K or
5K.
a
So
5K?
they'll head over down Wyoming to Greenridge, and then turn on Washington and head straight
So
down.
how much time do you allow for that?
Well, I don't know. How's
Yeah.
your speed these days?
Mine? That'd be take care of Saturday.
You better hold off the parade till the
We'd
next
have to
day.
expand one day, yeah.
It's usually finished within an hour. It's just not a
Yeah.
bad day. Yeah. So it really is a fun day, and again, so many people to thank, like yourselves, for helping us promote this over the years. But like I said, it's a labor of celebrating our heritage, and we have a lot of displays down there. This year we'll add a display featuring recipients, Italian-American recipients of the Medal of Honor. You know, there's a lot of, of course, we know our own Gino Merli, God rest his
sure,
soul.
sure.
But
Yes.
there are quite a bit who have been the recipient of that award. So we'll have a display at La Festa. Literally, it goes back pre-Civil War of individuals that have
Wow.
I want to say won that award, because any of them will say it's not it's not.
Yeah.
But that were
Have been
recipients.
Who's
Yeah.
putting that together?
We did. Our group was and sponsored by Unico as well. Just basically, with the internet today, you can do a lot of things.
You're right.
Well, that's
And you
true.
can
Easy
make
research.
You can make a display,
Right.
as well as we'll have a display of some of the older pictures. Maybe you were covering it back in the day. Maybe your pictures in there, but also other Italian Americans that have made it famous. Famous Italian Americans that have made it in, whether it be politics, entertainment, business, engineering, the sciences, arts and entertainment. We have several
That's
displays
nice to
for
include that every
because
year.
people don't
It is.
realize
No,
what
they-
they've
exactly,
done.
they don't.
A lot of the
Right.
monuments on the square were built, designed, constructed by Italian Americans. And people just kind of forget that. In sports, there's a lot of famous ones.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Starting with Joe DiMaggio and a few
Yeah.
others.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
right.
So there's a lot that,
And his
that
brother
we try
Dom,
to
too.
Yeah. But we try to educate. We don't want to. We don't want children today to go through life thinking that some of these shows on television that have stereotype Italian Americans is what our heritage is about. That's not our family. Our family is, hardworking individuals, faith oriented, and just live their lives, as a family, doing well for their.
And I'm glad to
some
see
of them have
that.
done well, and
I'm glad to
others
see
have
there's
worked hard.
still some history aficionados out there. History we should never forget.
Yeah, never forget. So
Yeah.
we'll have a
Bottom
display
line.
right at the Piazza dell'Arte, and that's an area that the county recognizes 3 individuals: Governor Casey and Governor Scranton and Honorable Joseph McDade. Their busts are there, and Jason Miller's bust is there.
Yeah, done by
Always a
Paul
good friend of
Sorvino,
ours.
another
Paul
right.
Sorvino,
Yes, indeed. Yeah, right.
yeah. So there's so much to be proud of. The piazza, well, I call it a piazza, but the courthouse is just a wonderful way of
Yeah, let's
showing
pull
this.
this up. Let's pull this up for a
we'll,
second.
we'll get Mark to kind of
is
zoom on this. Now, this painting was done by, then he was the president of the Chamber of Commerce, Austin Burke. Wonderfully talented, self-taught artist. And we sell these. It was done in...
He did beautiful work.
It's a beautiful work, but it has...
Beautiful, that's right.
Really, that's kind of what depicts what Scranton's all about, with the Italian, the Scranton, the Electric City sign that our good friend Kevin McDonough from Max Signs kind of brought back to
Yes,
life a
not
few
kidding,
years
resurrected
ago.
that.
So there's so much to be proud of, but this is really what that courthouse is great at. It's like a piazza. Piazza, as my good friend Pat Frascione and Pat Bucky Guido used to say, it was the place where people met to eat, to talk politics.
It was in Italy 2 years ago, and it may be
How many
every
piazzas?
little town has got
Had them.
their little square.
With the fountain and so
Absolutely.
forth. So
Absolutely.
And really, if you walked around Courthouse Square any part of the day, there's some characters there, but there's a lot of good things that are happening. It's a very safe place to walk around, even in the evening. The sheriffs do a wonderful job, and the city police. We were looking the other day, and there's a policeman on a bike just going around the square, making sure everybody's
Come
safe.
and see it, Labor Day weekend, La Festa, and you will hear, pardon me, what sounds like Frank Sinatra. And now you're going to hear Dean Martin as well. I mean, boy, that's worth the price of admission, which is free, by the way.
Very free, very free.
I think you were insulted, Chris.
Not at all, not at all. I've heard him. By the way, one more time.
That's life.
One more time, information about all the specific events, where and when, how they get it.
Yeah, it's Labor Day weekend. It's Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. Beautiful Courthouse Square in downtown Scranton. La Festa Italiana, www.lafestaitaliana, lafestaitaliana.org, and all the information will be there.
Facebook as well.
Yes, Facebook and all. I'm not a big social media guy, but they tell me we're on Facebook and all that.
Good luck,
That's the big
Chris.
thing, sure.
Thanks.
Wonderful. Keep up the good work.
Thank you.
We appreciate it, and I always enjoy La Festa. I'm sure you do as well.
Absolutely. See you at La Festa, David.
Okay, Mark McGlory will be there,
you,
I'm
Mark.
sure, because
Yep.
he always shoots some of the highlights
right.
there.
Absolutely.
And if you're caught out in California, you can
You'll
catch
see
some
it
of
right
the shows here a week or so
Absolutely.
later. I'm David DeCosmo, Free CTV Live. Until we see you again next week, here's hoping all your news is good.